Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. Today we have another operator overview where I will share some of the tips and tricks that I have for you, as well as some of the pros and the cons of Castle. Everybody's favorite guy, the guy that blocks you out of sight. So we're gonna go ahead and cover Castle, some do's, some don'ts, and then some of the things that have made him a better overall operator, in my opinion. So one of the main pros about Castle, in my opinion, right now, are that he has both impact grenades and he has the shorty. So they just added the shorty to his arsenal, I think, like at the beginning of the season. But the big thing about that is that shotgun is fantastic for making rotate holes. If you're on a site like, let's say, for instance, Bank, I already demonstrated a video of how you can shoot out the ceiling and then impact trick. So that is just fantastic in itself. It's also really good for opening holes on that same site all the way down to basement. So you can open up hatches that are soft, so you can have quick escape plans if you end up roaming with them, or anything along those lines. So definitely the shorty, along with impacts, is huge. I like to use impacts as well for finishing down opponents. So if somebody's kind of far away or they're crawling to safety, I might either open up a hole and try to pick off their partner, or just throw an impact and finish them off, so I don't have to leave my or expose myself just to get that kill. Obviously, his main ability is the bulletproof barricades, so that is something that I would definitely count as a pro, because that can really change how you approach the game and how the defense sites actually look. So I'm just going to count that as a pro. Depending on who you ask, another pro would be that he's a 2 armor 2 speed, so he's kind of quick, right? He's not fast, he's not as fast, but if you want to get somewhere, you can pull out your pistol. You're not a 1 speed, so you can get in and out of certain situations. You could be a little bit more aggressive. He's a little bit more agile, and it kind of feels that way too. So definitely somebody that I like. As far as the we'll talk about the cons after this, but the roaming aspect of him, because once you've set it up, even if he dies, he's used his utility, so that's a good thing there. The cons, the UMP it's one of the most inconsistent guns in the game, dude. So like sometimes I feel like it melts, and then I'll be like, I can't get any kills other times. So it's just like I can't kill anybody, and I go ahead and I'll just switch over to the reflex, because for whatever reason in my mind I can't get any kills because it's the hollow. Then I get a couple kills with the reflex, and then I can't get any kills, so I switch back to the hollow. I just don't know, man. It's just a very inconsistent gun, in my opinion. So that would be one of the biggest cons against him. A second one would be that he's not very useful on his own. He's a very team-oriented player, or operator. So if you were to just pick Castle and you're solo queuing, you're more likely to do more harm than good by going Castle, even though the road to hell was paved with good intentions. If you don't have that good communication, you can mess that up real quick. Or if you did something that kind of blocked off somebody's rotate, there's a lot that can go wrong with a Castle. There's a lot that can go right, but that would be a con right there. Like I said, castling people out would be the last con I would talk about. So when you have an inexperienced Castle, they'll just block off different main rotates that either give defenders free reign of almost all the map, or not defenders, but attackers free reign of all the map, because you can't see them anymore, or they cut off your roamers, and when it comes time to retake site, they can't, because they have to make a lot of noise, or they're pretty much stuck because the Castle boxed them out. Ever since adding the shorty, I feel like Castle stock has gone up. So here's some tips that I would say. I would say over communicate where you put your barricades, so you stay on the same page as your teammates. And what I mean by that is, if you're going to put a barricade here, I would say at the very beginning of the round, even start off by saying, hey, I'm going to castle off this, this, and this. Does anybody need me to do something different? And then the roamers, if they just don't listen and they heard you and they say, oh no, we're good, and if something happens, it's kind of fair game. You want to play your own game. You want to set up the castles the way you would want to, defend the site. But at the same time, if somebody has an idea that they're trying to do, you don't want to block them from being able to execute. Opening walls between sites with the shorty or with the impacts, and then kind of expanding the objective, is something that I've been kind of toying with. So for example, in Cash and Clubhouse, right? I'll castle the bedroom door, I'll castle the gym door, and I'll open up that wall and I'll kind of hold and reinforce. Obviously, we reinforce construction, we reinforce bedroom wall, and then from there, I kind of just either have them push in through the bathroom. They have to destroy the bathroom wall, which at that point they're at a disadvantage because I can see them, and they have to approach me and turn to get to me, or they just kind of leave that area alone altogether, which is kind of what I want them to do, right? I want them to funnel into the places where we have the best advantage for gunfights. The other thing too is when you set it up like this, if let's say for instance a Capitao is the last person that's alive, then Capitao is gonna have to punch that wall a million times before it breaks. Or somebody that doesn't have a breach charge, or doesn't have like a sniper rifle that can destroy it, or a DMR, then those people are going to be at the biggest disadvantage. And that's when castle really pays off in the higher ranks and then in the late rounds. So people that don't come prepared, people that don't drone out, they're not prepped, they end up having to punch a castle barricade 10 times and everybody's just waiting to pre-fire them as soon as it collapses. So that's something I would definitely say. Make sure you play around with different setups like that. Impact tricking, definitely. I made a video which I'll link in the description about bank and holding bank. So shoot out the roof, or not the roof, but the top of the barricade whenever there's still wood left, and you can impact trick whenever Thermite goes to do his breach charges. So when he does his exothermic charge, you just throw a nade, an impact, right on the edge of right where it's outside the barricade, but on the ceiling still, if that makes sense. And then you can actually burn out the charge. What I would say to be careful of is to not waste your nades on rotate holes, because you can make that with the shorty. So definitely use your shorty to make the rotate holes and then save your impacts for either finishing opponents in the late rounds or, weakening them, just other things other than just making a quick rotate. It might save you a couple of seconds, but at the end, you could really use the impacts for something different. Last thing I would say is speaking of using the impacts, you could use the impacts to actually destroy your castles if you happen to be roaming and need to get back in the site, or somebody's coming back in the site and they called it out and that there's a castle barricade there. You can just chuck an impact at it and destroy it. One cool tip is that you get your impact, or you get your castle barricades back if a teammate rips it down. So just remember, if somebody rips it down in the pregame or in the pre-round, then you can just put it back up. Don't TK them. So if you just unlock castle and didn't know that, then yeah, you get your barricade back. So don't TK over that. Lastly, if you change your mindset and kind of adopt the mindset of trying to slow the attackers down and setting them up for failure, like boxing them out, like castle with a mute is a really good combo in higher play. Because like I said, they bring a lot more utility operators, which ends up, backfiring if those people die. They won't be able to, they'll have to punch the barricade. They can't really breach charge it because the mute will keep it from blowing up. So it's really only going to be Cali, Glaz, and those cats with the really one shots knock out Glaz doesn't do it, but you know what I mean. Those people with the really heavy hitting DMRs and sniper rifles that can knock out your barricade, or an Ash or a Zofia that will take it out. So other than that, people can't just walk up, put a breach charge on it. Also, obviously, Sledge can hit it with a sledgehammer and knock it down. But everybody else using breach charges, nothing can be done. If it's a Habana and she brought concussions and she tries to hit her pellets on it just to make it, a little faster, doesn't matter because that mute charge will kind of save it right there. But yeah, if you have any tips for castle, or any castle players or people looking to purchase castle, then go ahead and write that in the comment section. I will catch you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this operator overview and kind of my take on castle and how I like to play them. So hopefully I gave you guys some good insights that are actionable that you can actually use. All right, you guys be easy. Third one.